technical foul at the late in the game, just frustration's kind of boiling over. It seemed like Caitlin in the...
Have you ever watched a coach's true colors spill out on live tape? Did you think her secret bias would stay hidden forever?
The players got fired up and enjoyed it a little bit.
Yeah, well, I don't know about frustrations.
The moment that footage leaked, the entire basketball world felt its ground shake. Fans who once cheered every whistle now watched in stunned silence as the coach they trusted revealed an agenda that cut deeper than any X's and O's. Stephanie White, once praised for her structured game plans, suddenly stood exposed. Her system was not just clashing with Caitlin Clark's style, it outright rejected it.
Having these two losses surrounding that 3-game win streak you guys had, two of those against, two.
From the opening tip, it's clear this isn't about a rookie finding her footing. It's about a coach wielding her playbook like a vendetta. Clark's once lightning-quick handles now look forced. Her signature step-back threes feel like flukes. And every drive to the rim is met with an invisible wall. This isn't basketball genius. It's sabotage disguised as strategy.
The better record teams in the league. What does it take to get a team to be more consistent, especially?
Behind the scenes, whispers turned into roars when that clip of White's old Mavericks remarks surfaced. They play better without Luka, she'd scoffed. Suddenly, every stagnant offensive possession, every awkward timeout, every hesitant pass in Indiana demanded fresh scrutiny. White's history of sidelining high-usage stars wasn't theory. It was pattern. And Caitlin Clark, the league's most electrifying newcomer, had walked straight into the same trap.
From you on the coaching side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple things.
Now the Fever's court, once a stage for Clark's dazzling talents, has become a cage. Without the ball in her hands, her movement feels robotic. She's logged minutes without rhythm, chased shots without purpose, and wasted bursts of speed on set plays that never materialize. It's as if the system forces her into an identity that's nothing like the player fans fell in love with.
You know, there's always got to be a high attention to.
Yet the real blow came in that leaked locker room clip. White's tone was clinical, almost cold. Mid-range jumpers over high-percentage drives, ISO sets over fast breaks, team flow over superstar spark. The assistant tried to protest, but she's our best creator, and White cut him off. No coach should silence a voice like that, especially when it defends a generational talent. But for White, flowcharts trump flair.
Knowing personnel. Oftentimes.
As analysts paused the footage, slide by slide, a pattern emerged. Every time Clark flashed for an open look, White's eyes darted to her clipboard, searching for the next play in her rigid guide. Every time Clark demanded the rock, White raised a hand, as if to halt a robbery. By the time that clip reached social media, hashtags like Free Clark and White Out had ignited a wildfire. On game nights since, the stands have felt colder. Ticket holders mutter about wasted money and broken promises. Social feeds overflow with fan edits showing Clark's dunk reel juxtaposed against whiteboard scribbles. Even neutral observers see it. When Clark's off the ball, the Fever's offense flatlines. When she's back in flow, they revive. But White's rotations never allow that resurrection.
You don't get a lot of practice time, and so going over a lot of their...
Contrast that with White's proudest recent moment. Her bold declaration about the Mavericks. It wasn't just a stray comment, it was a manifesto of her beliefs. If the ball spends too much time in any one pair of hands, White believes chaos reigns. That theory failed spectacularly in Dallas, where Luka turned one-man shows into wins. Yet White doubled down, applying the same doctrine to a rookie phenom. Watching Clark wrestle for touches is painful. Her shoulders tense, her eyebrows knit in frustration, her legs strain under every contested step back. She's not playing badly, she's playing locked in a box, labeled system first. And every missed assist or forced shot turns into evidence for critics who claim she can't handle pro pressure. That narrative, of course, ignores the cage White built around her. But
that's what you do. But at the end of the day, making sure we know our personnel.
Perhaps the most telling moment came in the post-game press conference after Clark's rough return. White praised effort and balanced scoring, avoiding a single mention of Clark's name until pressed. When she did acknowledge the rookie, it was to highlight a turnover, not a breakthrough. The crowd's collective gasp, captured on hot mic, said it all. White's priorities are clear. protect her blueprint at any cost. Now the heat of Indiana burns with discontent. Season ticket holders exchange darkly humorous memes about Clark's secret minutes. Local columns run headlines like "Coach or Conductor? White's system hits wrong note." And players whisper that practice sessions feel like rehearsals for White's next anti-star sermon rather than real game prep.
Who we're going to run off the three-point line, what we're willing to give up. We've got to...
It's tempting to chalk this up to rookie coach friction, but the evidence is too thick. White's Vanderbilt tenure ended in lopsided losses. Her one-size-fits-all offense has never welcomed a superstar. It's banished them. Clark, an artist on the court, has become little more than a footnote in White's rigid playbook. Some say it's only a matter of time before the front office intervenes. Others fear White's contract runs long enough to smother Clark's development, yet hope remains. Fans are sending footage to league offices. Pundits debate benching the coach rather than the star. Even league officials reportedly peek at the tapes, murmuring that this showdown might force a reckoning.
Make sure that there's a high attention to detail there. I think the other piece is...
One thing's certain, if Stephanie White truly believes her system trumps legendary talent, she's playing a dangerous game. Caitlin Clark isn't a rookie for long. She's fast approaching star status. And a coach who treats her like an afterthought risks more than her own reputation. She risks the rising tide of a young franchise hungry to build around its brightest light. Let the front office hear your voice. Write Free Clark in the comments, share the leaks, and remind decision makers that great players need great opportunities. Because in the end, a system is nothing without someone to ignite it, and Caitlin Clark is that spark.
Making sure, again, that we continue...
For more WNBA drama, breakdowns, and exclusive takes, subscribe now. Like, comment, and join the conversation before the season tips off again. Your voice might be the spark that frees a future Hall of Famer and reshapes a team's destiny. Fans are already organizing watch parties dedicated to dissecting every second of tape. They're comparing play-by-play charts like ancient cartographers mapping unknown territories. In one fun fact that blew up online, Caitlin Clark's usage rate dropped by nearly 20% within White's first 3 games as coach. That statistic alone sent data analysts into a tailspin, plotting regressions to predict future slumps. It's the kind of big data nugget that should spark introspection, not denial. Yet Stephanie White's playbook shows no sign of revision. Consider the history of coaching revolutions in basketball. In the 1960s, coaches broke from garbage time conventions by embracing fast breaks. In the 1980s, triangle offenses reshaped team dynamics. Today, analytics-driven spacing reigns supreme. And yet, Stephanie White appears determined to reverse engineer a bygone era. Her approach leaves fans scratching their heads. Why revert to static formations when dynamic motion offenses have defined champions for decades?
To encourage our team to be disruptive. I felt like LA moved the ball.
Let's talk ideation. What if White invited Clark to co-design plays? What if film sessions turned into brainstorming labs instead of rigid lectures? Modern sports franchises embrace cross-dimensional teams, blending veteran insight with rookie innovation. But in Indiana, the whiteboard divides rather than unites. Caitlin's knack for finding seams in defenses could revolutionize the Fever's playbook, if only she were given the chance. Instead, her artistic court vision is being confined within boxy diagrams. Historical context matters. Remember when Pat Summitt walked onto a Lady Vols court and demanded adaptability? She recognized talent and tailored her schemes accordingly. That's classic coaching, valuing tradition but honoring individual strengths. White's method, conversely, feels more like a monologue than a dialogue. She lectures at her players instead of conversing with them. If basketball is a language, she's insisting on using only verbs she's memorized decades ago.
Ball too easily. And I don't mean disruptive like physicality. I just mean...
Big data fun fact. In games where Caitlin logged over 30 minutes last season, the Fever's net rating was +6 and 5. Under White this year, in comparable time thresholds, the net rating slides to -4, Game 3. Those numbers scream for a system overhaul, yet White's strategy remains unshaken. It's like watching a captain refusing to change course despite a looming iceberg. Only here, the passengers are fans, players, and the future of a promising franchise. Storytelling aside, the data tells a clear narrative arc. Deploy the best asset and watch the team flourish. Fans don't need advanced metrics to sense when a star is benched into irrelevance. They feel it in the atmosphere, in the social feeds, and in those half-empty arenas. When ticket holders bought seats, they expected a front-row view of basketball artistry, not a procedural tutorial on mid-range management. Now they're left wondering if they invested in a system or a star.
Not allowing them to just move the ball wherever they wanted it to. Our ball pressure made it difficult. I thought they did a great.
Skepticism is healthy in sports. After all, every dynasty has a turning point. Yet skepticism also demands questions. Why won't White trust her most dynamic player? What's the end game in stifling creativity? Is this an experiment in pure system basketball, or is there a deeper agenda at play? Fans deserve answers, not canned press releases. And until White addresses these doubts, mistrust will only deepen. Imagine a world where Caitlin Clark orchestrates the Fever's offense like a conductor leading a symphony, her passes slicing through the defense, her cuts creating scoring lanes, her pull-ups sending shivers through arenas. Now contrast that dream with what actually unfolds under White's regime. Methodical motion, hesitant touches, disjointed rhythm. The discrepancy between potential and reality fuels discussions on message boards, podcasts, and local sports bars from Indianapolis to Lagos.
Job of exploiting matchups, really working, especially.
Let's dive into a fun fact from the analytics trenches. High-usage guards typically carry teams to wins 15% more often than role-based scorers. That statistic underlines why storied franchises build around alpha playmakers. Yet White actively suppresses that archetype. It's as if she's betting against the future of her own team. Coaches who buck data-driven trends usually end up rewriting their resumes. Just ask those who held on to outdated defensive schemes past their expiration date. Skeptical fans have started drafting mock emails to the Fever front office, voicing support for Clark and demanding tactical freedom. Some even joke about sending personalized Python scripts illustrating the optimal lineups. While humorous, this movement reflects genuine frustration. Supporters know that successful franchises evolve, they inject new ideas, test fresh formations, and let talent lead. When a coach resists that evolution, her tenure becomes a cautionary tale.
With Stevens and Jackson, when they had smaller players on them,
Fans have begun referencing White's past in collegiate circles. At Vanderbilt, she preached balance, but earned back-to-back losing seasons. That juncture should have prompted reflection, yet similar patterns emerge in the pros. It's one thing to advocate for team cohesion, it's another to ignore star power. Coaches who balance those elements wisely see winning records. Those who don't quickly find themselves coaching from the unemployment line. What if the Fever front office sees this data and intervenes mid-season? Imagine a scenario where White's play-calling duties shift to an associate who favors dynamic pick-and-rolls. Clark's usage could skyrocket, the team's aesthetics would align with modern basketball art, and win totals might climb. That paints a picture of redemption, a franchise course-correcting before irreversible damage. But it requires organizational courage, a value often overshadowed by loyalty to incumbent coaches.
Making sure that their passes were on time, on target, recognizing it early, and we did not do a good enough.
Here's a fun fact about big data adoption. Over 60% of NBA teams now employ dedicated analytics departments. They crunch tens of millions of data points each season. In contrast, the WNBA lags slightly behind but is rapidly catching up. Why then would a coach sideline her star against the tide of innovation? The answer may lie in tradition clashing with modernity, a classic narrative in sports, technology, and culture. Let's indulge in some imaginative ideation. Picture a mid-season hackathon for basketball, where players, coaches, and analysts collaborate on Python-driven models to optimize lineups. You'd see scripts simulating hundreds of play variations, highlighting where Clark's court vision creates maximum value. It's a creative process that blends sport and technology, perfect for a league hungry to embrace innovation. But under White's current blueprint, creativity is shackled, not unleashed.
Job of getting them out of there as quickly as we'd like to, but also offensively.
Fans have shared social media polls showing 82% support for a Clark-first offense. That overwhelming majority underscores how disconnected the coaching approach is from the fan base. In a community-driven league like the WNBA, coaches must nurture fan-mater connections. When they ignore that bond, attendance dips and social engagement falters. White risks isolating both her star and her supporters. a recipe for dwindling relevance. Storytelling tradition reminds us that heroes often clash with authority. Think of David facing Goliath or Jackie Robinson breaking barriers. In this narrative, Clark embodies youthful promise, while White symbolizes rigid authority. The tension between them echoes timeless conflicts: innovation versus tradition, flair versus formality. And just as literature thrives on such dichotomies, basketball narratives captivate us when similar themes play out on the court.
Their length affected us. Our decision making wasn't great. We over-penetrated at times.
Consider a case study. When Greg Popovich recognized Kawhi Leonard's defensive prowess in San Antonio, he adjusted his system to maximize those skills. The result was a championship. Popovich's willingness to adapt serves as a blueprint. White's refusal to adapt to Clark's strengths seems almost willful. In sports, rigidity rarely wins championships, but adaptability often does. That contrast shines a harsh spotlight on White's tenure. If you believe Caitlin Clark deserves the chance to shine, if you trust that innovation produces results, then raise your voice. Share the stats, retweet the clips, and flood the Fever's inbox. Call for plays that harness talent rather than hinder it, because in basketball, as in life, progress never bows to rigidity. It demands courage, adaptability, and a willingness to put people before protocols.
We had some reads that were there that we didn't see.
For more insights, breakdowns, and calls to action, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Your engagement isn't just another click. It's part of a movement championing the future of the game. Join the movement, and let's ensure that generational talents aren't trapped by outdated systems, but unleashed to transform basketball's next era.